Marcel, where are you going with that disc? You are not putting that on again. Marcel, okay, if you press that button, you are in very, very big trouble.
Attention. Everybody stop what you're doing. It's time for The Unwritten Rule, a Mizzou sports podcast brought to you by the Believe Network, alongside Payton Haverman and Kenny Van Doren. Here is your host, Jack Knowlton.
Welcome back to The Unwritten Rule. Today is Friday, August 30th, and Mizzou football is back in emphatic fashion. The Tigers beat Murray State 51-0. Payton and I, late night recording for you guys on a Thursday after the game. And Payton, it was a sold-out Memorial Stadium. Drinkwitz did it. He called for the student section to fill it up and be full for the Tigers season opener. How nice was it to have Mizzou football back on your TV screen before we dive into any of the nitty-gritty?
It was good, especially this is the first season I think we've experienced, me and you personally have experienced with actual expectations outside of just a bowl game, really. And they largely lived up to it. There's a few hiccups that we'll get into, but it was good to have football back. Good that Faroe was able to sell this one out. I thought that was necessary, and Drinkwitz sang the crowd's praises after the game, rightfully so. So yeah, overall good return. They did what they needed to do, and hopefully it's the first of many this season.
Yeah, that all came out. Came all full circle with Drinkwitz with the fans. So that was good. Running through the game, I mean, there's not, much to dive into in terms of moments. Mizzou was up 28-0 after the first quarter. Murray State decided to try an onside kick with the opening kickoff. I think they did that, threw a pick six, and went for it on fourth down in their own territory, all in the first quarter. Mizzou was rolling. It got a little stalled out in the second. They were up 35-0 after kind of a nice 2-minute play. And then just kind of coasted with the backups from there. Drew Pyne started second half 8 for 8 when he came in the game. Just like general thoughts, and then I think we're going to talk a little defense to get into it, Payton. But just what do you think of kind of the flow of the game? It was crazy first quarter.
Yeah, they went up 21-0 by about the 9:40 mark, I want to say, and I believe someone tweeted that was the fastest 21 points that Mizzou had ever scored in history, like the fastest they had scored 21 in a game in school history. So definitely a good start there. Really, I mean, it was a pretty dynamic. Like the offense looked great up on if you exclude that fumble, which really probably should have been ruled an incomplete pass. The fumble that kind of just put the offense in a lull a little bit. But I mean, realistically, you came into this game against Murray State just hoping they'd handle their business, and they did that and then some. You see just some of the team stats here if you're watching on the YouTube. Missouri outgained Murray State 489 yards to 85 yards. Murray State had just 27 yards through the air today. It was abhorrent. Mizzou had 30 first downs. Murray State had 5. Murray State was never close to scoring. And that's kind of, I think, the bigger takeaway is that the defense looked absolutely excellent. Obviously, you don't want to pull too much from a game against Murray State, a team that you are, quite frankly, way out of the league of. But the defense came out fast. It really did look like the better unit today. And I know it's kind of funny to say that with after a game where you won 51-0, but it really, in sharp contrast to the offense, they looked like they came out and played with their hair on fire. Very first drive, getting a fourth down stop like that. Just very, very good outing for them. And we'll get more into the details of the defense, but very impressed with them. Offense has some things to iron out, but overall, if you're going to pick a game to really kind of have things you need to work on, it might as well be Murray State.
Yeah, I think we just roll right into it with the defense. Drinkwitz came out in his post-game presser and praised them. Like you said, they came out with their hair on fire. They got the 4th down stop. I appreciate Murray State for trying to do that for attempting that, because I think it gave the defense a nice rep to, gain some confidence when they did get the stop. I thought Tristan Newsom looked great. I thought Dalen Carnell looked really good. Stat-wise, Corey Flagg had 5 tackles. He looked really good. Tristan Newsom also had 5. Marvin Burks, 4. Gracial also had 4. You had a ton of guys playing. Khalil Jacobs had a nice stop on one play. And then at the end of the game, you had the freshman kind of playing on the final drive. Drinkwitz said afterward, everyone was a freshman. Everyone was a freshman besides Philip Roche, who was in on defense on the final drive. Williams Waneri had a pressure right at the end of the game, which was nice to see him kind of on the stat sheet. But Payton, I mean, some specific defensive highlights that you kind of saw. I really thought, it mostly stood out to me in the first half. Like I said, I mentioned the stops by Newsom, the 4th down stop. Corey Flagg had a nice one that I noted down in the second quarter on a 3rd and short that stalled a drive. Chris McClellan had a sack in the 3rd quarter. And then I mentioned that Williams Waneri pressure too. But, I mean, who stood out to you individually on the defense?
Yeah, definitely. Flagg and I think Khalil Jacobs really popped off the page, like kind of immediately to me. All 4 of the linebackers I thought played really well. Tristan Newsom obviously had that big stop. Very encouraging for that unit. I think we were pretty optimistic on the outlook of them. And they lived up to it. I mean, again, Murray State, but really, really liked especially Khalil Jacobs. He was flying to the ball. Had a big tackle for loss. I remember he was just noticeable. Like I noticed him a few times. Thought the secondary, again, Murray State was using a quarterback that transferred in, Jaden Johansson, from South Dakota Mines University or something like that. But I mean, you hold a team to 27 yards in a whole game. I mean, that's absolutely nuts. That's a crazy low number that you just don't see anymore. Missouri didn't have a whole ton of sacks in this game, but that's just really because Murray State was so overmatched. They were trying to just get the ball out quick. They tried to run the ball a lot. They ran it 35 times and only averaged 1.7 yards a carry. Their longest run of the game was 9 yards. They had 0 double-digit plays at all on offense. Their longest catch was also for 9 yards. So, again, I think this defense gets an A++. Don't think you could have asked for much better, a much better start. I will also say, you touched on McClellan a little bit. I thought he probably had the best drive of the game. He had that pass deflection, and then he forced a fumble on the sack on the very next play. He did not look like someone that might have been a little upset that Marquise Gracial got the job over him. And Gracial, to his credit, also had 4 tackles. So very, very good debut for the defense all the way around.
Yeah, the death row comments were flying all around the broadcast booth, which was fun. And yeah, they just had like a really nice energy about them. And shoot, I'll ask you about this play specifically. We didn't touch on the most highlight or the biggest highlight play of that. Toriano Pride, a pick 6 in his debut, a guy who, we had thought it was going to be Charleston and Nick DeLoach, and then Toriano Pride goes out there, makes a play. Again, you have to caveat all of this. Sorry, Drayden Norwood. What did I say? Joseph Charleston? It's late.
Yes.
You have to caveat all this. It's Murray State, and there was pressure up the middle by Zion Young, or off the edge by Zion Young, that helped cause that interception. But I mean, what is that? That does a lot for a guy's psyche coming in and getting a pick 6 in his first game, albeit against Murray State. I mean, that can set you up well for some momentum. And I think you can apply this to the entire defense just because the performance was so good. I think it's enough for at least you can only play the opponent in front of you. And I think from a mental standpoint, that's got to psych these guys up, how well they played, and got to make them feel that they can do that again each week.
Yeah, I mean, you still got to go out and perform. I thought that was good to see because I think the cornerback room is probably the biggest question mark on the team. And they played absolutely great. I mean, you didn't even see Drayden Norwood pop up on the screen at all because they didn't even bother to throw towards him. I mean, anytime you hold a team to 1.8 yards an attempt, I mean, you're obviously doing something right in the secondary. Toriano Pride also is someone who maybe was not having the best camp. There were maybe talks that he'd be CB3 behind Deloach and Norwood. For him to get that in his first game back at home, for lack of a better term, obviously the East St. Louis product, had to feel good for him. Hopefully does a lot for his confidence. They're gonna need him, Deloach, and Norwood, all three to be stellar this season if Missouri wants to go where they want to go.
Drinkwitz too said with the just going back to the young guys too, and like you look at that stat sheet. I mean, it was Brayshawn Littlejohn had 2 tackles. I think Nicholas Rodriguez had 2 tackles. So them getting involved, he said it's going to be a hell of a defensive unit too going forward. So I think he liked what he saw from some of those young guys. Let's switch to the other side of the ball, Payton. I feel like the way to tackle this is to examine the first quarter first and what we liked, and then maybe look at the rest of the game and what we didn't. I'll run through the scoring quick. Luther scored the first touchdown after breaking a tackle, so he's already on the board. Nate Noel had the second. Then there was a Toriano Pride pick 6. Marcus Carroll had a walk-in touchdown. It was 28-0. Brady Cook on the option before halftime, 35-0. Blake Craig went 3 for 3 today, and the other ones, Jamal Roberts scored a touchdown. And then, it was Blake Craig's 3 field goals that kind of summarized it. But let's focus on the first quarter. Again, it's Murray State. But what did you like about the tempo, the pace, maybe some of the play calling, and just what you saw? Got Luther involved early and often. I mean, he looks like the Bolitnikov finalist potential that we're hoping for.
Yeah, I like that the first few drives they got Luther early involved early and often. They had the first play of the game was a handoff to Luther that went for a first down. Then, of course, he capped off the first drive of the season, high stepping into the end zone for a touchdown. I mean, they took advantage of short fields, which is good. Quite frankly, there wasn't a whole ton that was like standing out to me. They did do a relatively decent job of splitting the carries between Noel and Carroll early. Noel definitely got the bulk of them, but Carroll definitely. I honestly was more impressed with Carroll than Noel just from the carries he got. Not to say Noel was bad. I just thought Carroll had a few more moments. Overall, it was fine in the first quarter. It was what they needed to do. They didn't do anything that wowed me though.
Okay. So, I mean, I guess segueing off of that, it's maybe focusing on what they didn't do. Like in the second quarter, gets a little more clunky. We saw Brady Cook. I actually started on that first drive when Brady Cook sailed one over Brett Norfleet when it should have been probably just an easy pitch and catch. We saw him and Marquise Johnson tried to hook up. We saw that a ton last year. We know what Marquise Johnson can do. That wasn't really clicking at first. Brady at the end of the half had the, kind of confusion that was sort of messing up their 2-minute offense. That turned out to be, Drinkwitz said after, is down to some of that helmet communication. Brady thought that a call was like a check and misheard what Drinkwitz was trying to say. So they're still trying to iron that stuff out. But a couple of shaky throws, a couple shaky moments from, even Johnson and some of the other receivers. What didn't you like about it? It's again weird saying that about an offense that scores 51 points, has over 400 yards, but against Murray State, what didn't you like that you saw tonight? Yeah,
it was just too clunky for me, really. Brady Cook, and I mean, if Brady Cook connects on even one of his deep balls, like especially that one to Luther Burden, where Burden was just kind of streaking there, I think we're probably looking at this completely different. But I mean, that fumble, I know Gabe DeArmond tweeted the quote, the trick play that kind of set off the lull. Mizzou called that play Bulldog because Kirby Moore brought it in from Fresno State. Moore had actually been hesitant to call it, but the staff kind of pressured him into it. Drinkwitz then joked that they'll never run it again with a laugh, according to Gabe DeArmond.
Hopefully that's not a joke. Hopefully they never run that play again.
Yeah, they don't need to run that again. I'm a fan of getting Luther touches in unique ways, but not really like that. And it probably should have been an incomplete pass, but it is what it is. But overall, I mean, Brady Cook just didn't really look all that great. He's had much better days. And I mean, it's not really concerning to me right now. It was just it just kind of looked like they needed to iron out some kinks. They're just not all on the same page at the moment. It might take a couple games to just get back in the swing of things. If it gets to Boston College time and we're still having some of those issues, then I think it's time to start asking some questions. But yeah, Brady just maybe he was a little amped up for the season, just some nerves, but definitely a lot of overthrows on deep balls. Just a lot of miscommunication, not great accuracy from him. He's had better games. He'll have better games this season. That's probably, I'm sure he'll kind of come out a lot more motivated against Buffalo. And yeah, I do think it was good that they got the 2-minute drill in. Again, not any explosive plays there. You kind of want to see them score faster than a 14-play drive against Murray State, but it is what it is. The offense picked a good day to have an off day. I don't really think I'm concerned. I have much concern about it being a problem.
Yeah, I think, again, you can balance the same thing with what we're balancing the good with, where it's Murray State. You probably switch into neutral. I mean, I think they even said it on the broadcast. These are still 18 to 22-year-old kids. It's hard to get them to engage when they're up by so much against, such an inferior opponent that they know they're better than. So, yeah, I think that's tricky. What did you think of the offensive line? Because I thought kind of contributing to some of the miscues. There's a couple. I noted a hold on Caden Green. There's a delay game on one point, which isn't all the way on the offensive line. Couple penalties. Overall, I feel like for a first game of the year, probably pretty clean. But either with penalties or even if they, when they played well, I thought there was, on the opposite end, some good blocks for some of these running backs at a certain point. What'd you think of the O-line?
In pass pro, it was perfect. I mean, I don't think Pyne or Cook were ever under duress at any point in the game, which is good. I feel like in pass pro, especially, you should really be keeping your quarterbacks clean against Murray State. So that was good. Yeah, Caden Green had a couple holding penalties and it was just like kind of dumb, like keeping keep your hands inside the pads and just yanking. He did kind of atone for it on the 2-minute touchdown where Brady Cook ran in. Caden Green was the guard that pulled, and he sealed the deal with a good block. When they weren't committing penalties, they were fine. I mean, there were holes there for the running backs. I mean, you look at it, 5.1 yards a carry doesn't jump off the page at you, but I mean, a few of those were like, Tavoris Jones had 6 carries for 16 yards in the second half. Jamal Roberts only averaged 2.7, and almost all of his touches came in the second half. So overall, I think it was pretty fine debut. Just got to clean the penalties up, and a couple of them came from the reserves. So I'm even less concerned about that. I think it was Green had a couple holds, and Cameron Johnson had a false start. You got to clean that up, obviously. You don't want 2 holds in a game, but again, overall it was fine. I don't think it's anything to really fret over right now.
Yeah, I think the offensive line will be fine. I think it was pretty good. I think it was a pretty good, clean performance overall. I never got mad at anything. So, yeah, it helps when they're winning by so much. I think the thing we need to appreciate, Payton, Mizzou's 2 leading receivers in this game, Mookie Cooper, 1 catch for 49 yards, and Daniel Blood, 5 catches, 42 yards. It was a nice day for Daniel Blood. Some of these reserves I thought looked really good. I was really impressed. I mean, I don't know how much I want to talk about Quan. Quan Lacey had some awesome runs in this game when he got in the game late. And it is with the reserves. Everyone's tired. It's garbage time. But he looked awesome. And Drinkwitz, like you heard what he said about the defense. That he says is going to be a really impressive unit. I thought some of these reserves look great. And I think there's just some real weapons for this team. Like, I mean, you think about like Mekhi Miller in the Florida game last year, and you think of someone like Mookie Cooper now. Like, I don't know. There's some of these reserves impress me, again, albeit with it being Murray State.
Yeah, I mean, Marquise Johnson played the entire game. I mean, he was getting catches in the fourth quarter, which I found interesting. Josh Manning, he's someone that apparently has impressed them in camp. He got, I don't know if he played the first snap. He played on the first drive, I'm pretty sure. He played early in this game. He had a 16-yard catch early on, so that was interesting. Daniel Blood, like you mentioned, who had just 1 catch last year, he led Mizzou in receptions today with 5. And he's shifty. They tried to get him the ball in space at the end of the game. and he was able to make a little bit out of it. Overall, I mean, receiving wise, there weren't a ton of different like reserves that caught the ball. Mekhi Miller's someone you're going to rely upon regularly. Brett Norfleet and Theo Weiss both got banged up, but Drinkwitz doesn't expect that to be long term at all. Norfleet only had 1 catch for 4 yards, so that was kind of a downer. But again, not really expecting him to put up gaudy numbers against Murray State because they, quite frankly, weren't gonna play very long. I was very impressed with Drew Pyne. I thought he looked excellent. Again, Murray State was playing out the stretch, really, but Drew Pyne, when you think about the fact that he's probably going to be someone that at least competes for the starting job, you want him to get reps in with guys like Kewan Lacey, guys like Jamal Roberts, guys like Daniel Blood, guys like Josh Manning, and so many others, because he could be the starter next year. So I thought Drew Pyne looked great. He operated the offense well. Kewan Lacey, like you said, was awesome. I think he only played a couple drives, but he was felt. I mean, 5 runs for 42 yards, thoroughly outplayed Tavoris Jones and Jamal Roberts, I thought.
And it was like smart runs. Like he was, I'm a Kewan Lacey guy, but like he was bouncing off tacklers. He did a couple spin moves in there. For a freshman in your first game, that was good. I thought actually, I saw one play. He didn't catch it. Courtney Crutchfield went out on a route, and I was like, this guy doesn't look like a freshman.
Courtney Crutchfield and James Madison were out there at the end of the game.
Yeah. So yeah, no, they both played. Madison looked a little small, but Courtney Crutchfield, I was like, this guy actually looks like a college ready player. He doesn't look like a high school guy. But there's not big expectations for either of those things. And yeah, Pyne, I'm glad you touched on him. 10 for 11 for 89 yards, I think is about as great as you could have imagined. He had a higher quarterback rating than Brady Cook did. So, yeah, that's going to be a guy that, the Sam Horn situation's weird.
It'll probably be him, Zollers. It'll be Horn, Pyne, Zollers, I'd imagine, vying for the job. Maybe Aiden Glover gets in there too, but I don't think Missouri really imagines that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it'll be interesting in a year from now. And then the special teams quickly, I thought it was good to see Blake Craig make 3, albeit short but confident field goals. And then Luke Bauer looked pretty good. He had 2 nice punts, I thought. So
no, yeah, definitely agree with that. Blake Craig, his long was only 39 tonight, but they looked good. I mean, they looked like he had I was maybe questioning because, after seeing Mevis with how big a leg he had, obviously you don't want to lose that. And Blake Craig, I mean, he drove the ball pretty well. I mean, that kick from 39 looked like it could have been good from 50. So pretty good for him. And yeah, Luke Bauer, I mean, only 2 punts on the night, but averaged 48.5 per punt. Inside the 20 on one of them. Had a 52-yarder on one of them. Exactly what you needed out of the punter room. So good for Luke Bauer. Obviously, the broadcast mentioned he's been going through a lot lately with his father passing away in July. So cool to see him get out there and be able to be all smiles on the sideline and everything.
Yeah, they showed a good shot of that, which was nice. And yeah, it's nice. Also nice. Luther Burden, I don't think had to return a punt today, so didn't have to worry about anything crazy happening on that. He said he had one where he got clipped on the draw to Cook for the touchdown. He went down. I texted. I was like, I thought he looked hurt after that. He was like,
yeah, I didn't notice it.
It must have just been a stinger, but yeah, he was fine. Yeah, I mean, again, it's Murray State. I don't think going too into the weeds is too bad, but I think a lot of people wowed us. Payton, pick one guy. I'll put you on the spot that won the day the most for you.
I'm going to say Khalil Jacobs. I really thought he played really well. I thought the linebackers as a group played well. Pretty much everyone on defense played an exceptional game, with the only person I complained about was Trevez Johnson missing a tackle on a run. And quite frankly, I'm not expecting much from Trevez Johnson. So it is what it is. But I thought the linebackers in particular all played well. If I had to pick one, I'd pick Khalil Jacobs.
I like it. I was going to go with Corey Flagg. I think the linebackers as a position group won the day today. If I'm picking someone on offense, I'd probably go Kewan Lacey. I just think in garbage time, he looked awesome. He just made some really nice runs. And I think the offense, the starters have too high of expectations. I don't think any of them meet him. I'd maybe Carroll, because I thought Carroll had some nice runs today too.
Yeah, I would maybe say Carroll. I mean, Josh Manning getting the snaps he did, I think, is a win for him. I mean, no one had like a super crazy day. Nate Noel, nice day. Yeah, Blood had a pretty nice day. Noel, I mean, Noel had a couple clumsy moments. He almost ran into Brady Cook on a pass attempt.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, overall, he was pretty decent with the carries he got. He didn't break one big or anything, which kind of you would want to maybe see that with his speed, but he was fine. I would maybe give the nod to Drew Pyne, honestly.
Yeah, he's be another one too. There you go. Those are our MVPs. Any other final thoughts, Payton? Murray State. We go Buffalo next. It's only going to get harder now. We can start to scrutinize a little bit heavier in these recaps than we did. But yeah. Anything else?
No, I mean, they went out. They did what they needed to do. I think I picked 66-7, so I was only 8 points off on the margin of victory. Missouri went out and covered. So very glad Drinkwitz didn't take his foot off the gas in this one. I think he realizes like, hey, we need to he at the end of the game there, he was going to, before deciding to just kick the third field goal of the game, he was going to go for it on that 4th and goal and just reward the student section that just stayed, because they were chanting like, go for it. And he went out there, he was like hyping them up, but false start kind of put the kibosh on that. Is what it is. Drinkwitz was having fun out there. Good. It was good vibes all around it for no real complaints.
Man of the people, absolute man of the people. Yeah, it was good to see it sold out. It just makes me so happy. Like one of my favorite things watching games on TV when it's a team that you lived in the area around is like the overhead shots of that area, and it was just so nice to see those of Columbia again. Made me very happy. Football is truly back. I think that'll probably wrap it up. Oh, and it was funny, the Blake Craig, they were talking about that a lot in the broadcast booth, that his last field goal cashed the over. Yep, they showed one guy going to commercial inside the south end zone who was just going crazy after he made the field goal, and they were like, that man's happy for a certain reason.
Yeah, well, the under actually hit in this game, but Missouri covered.
That's what I meant. Oh, sorry, not the over. Allowed Missouri.
I figured that's what you meant, but
excuse me.
Minus 50.5, and Missouri covered it.
Beautiful. Yeah, we love to hear that. Yeah, it was. I wrote down a stat. I think it was their biggest home opening, first shutout season home opener since September 5th, 1998. So there you go.
Very nice.
No points allowed. That'll do it for us for this one. Again, these will get more in depth. We all know how this stuff works. They'll get more in depth when there's more to scrutinize, when Missouri, kind of ramps up its opponents. But a great start to the season for the Tigers. So happy we had a football game to talk about, Payton. That was the best 27 minutes of podcasting we've had in a long time.
No doubt.
We got quick hits. We did a quick hits earlier today, so we're going to attach that onto the end of this. So enjoy that. Enjoy your Sunday. No NFL to enjoy this Sunday, but you do have what? USC LSU, is that today? No,
I mean, this is getting uploaded on a Friday, so
never mind. This is getting uploaded on a Friday. I've got my dates wrong. It's late. All right. That's a good cue to end it. All right. Enjoy quick hits. We will catch you guys on Monday. Talk more Mizzou. Okay, quick hits time. We're finishing up the show. Hopefully this is not a drastically different tone than the first part that you heard, because we're recording this before the game. And if the game hasn't gone Mizzou's way, I think that might be the most stark difference in tone you maybe have ever heard on a podcast. But we might not even do a show. I don't know, Payton, if we'll even want to record if Mizzou loses. We might. Well,
that would be quite the dilemma we'd be in.
We might have to. It would get views.
Yeah, it would. That's true.
Anyway, that's a future us problem. Past us is coming at future you with quick hits and a little mind melt situation. Anyway, Kenny's still not here, but we do have his quick hits. We are starting out with his jerseys of the week, and he's got a whole bunch of them for not really great reasons, Payton, because Kenny's jerseys of the week are every single Mizzou player who got cut, plus Larry Borum, who got put on IR. So running through them, unfortunately, there were 6: Tyler Beatty, Marcellus Johnson, We got, who else do we have? You're clicking through them.
Joshua Bledsoe, DJ Coleman,
Josh Bledsoe, DJ Coleman, Shane Ray.
Shane Ray already got added to the practice squad. Nate Pete.
And then Larry Borum's on IR.
Yeah.
Cody Schrader did get, sorry, I'm not spoiling. I just saw.
Yeah.
I'll let you talk about Cody Schrader. But yeah, some cuts. Unfortunate.
Yeah, no, I mean, none of those are overly surprising. I will say the thing about most of them getting cut is a lot of them will wind up back on the practice squad if they haven't already as of the time of this recording. But it does suck that a lot of those roster fringe guys, Tyler Beatty had a very good camp, but couldn't break through because of how deep the Broncos running back room is. But hopefully he sticks on the practice squad and gets elevated at some point.
Yeah, he had a good last preseason game too. What was it? Did he just have the one touchdown? I think he just had one touchdown, but
yeah, something like that.
No,
he had two. He had two in the preseason total.
Oh, okay, 2 total. So yeah, we thought maybe that would be enough, but a little bit unfortunate. But yeah, hopefully we see them on practice squads going forward. Payton, your jersey of the week, the one good pickup from cuts the other day in the NFL.
Yeah, Cody Schrader was cut by the 49ers. Pretty much every beat writer assumed he would be on the practice squad. But the 49ers did not get the chance because the Los Angeles Rams claimed him off waivers. So Cody Schrader is sticking on an active roster, at least for now. He is going to the Los Angeles Rams.
Let's go. Cody Schrader, 8th and
should not really surprise everyone. He worked himself into an opportunity like that.
Yeah. It was always going to be an uphill battle, but he's very used to those. So yeah, staying in the NFC West too. Maybe he'll have a breakout game against the Niners. Maybe for some reason, he'll be in for a bunch and he'll go off against his now former team. But
right.
Yeah, congrats to Cody. Or maybe he'll go up against Darius in the NFC West when Darius Robinson comes back. But
hopefully completely healthy. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, congrats to Cody Schrader. Unfortunate for some of those other guys, but it's the nature of football. I'm afraid that that does tend to happen, but we wish those guys the best in practice squad, and hopefully Cody Schrader has another good chapter to his great story. My jersey of the week, going back to current Mizzou football, I guess former Mizzou football. I'm giving it to Sean Witherspoon. This is from earlier today when we're recording this on Thursday, excuse me. Mizzou did a promo featuring Sean Witherspoon. He narrated it for the season. Battle ready reads the tweet, and then it showed a bunch of Sean Witherspoon highlights. If you're not watching on the YouTube, followed by the current team training, running bleachers.
I'm pretty sure he also did. He did like the pregame video before the 2022 season. Like he did the countdown. So Sean Witherspoon seems like a very proud alum. He's always contributing whenever he can.
Mizzou does a good job, I think, with their former football alums. I don't know. Maybe that's just because we see it more than other teams, but I feel like they have a good variety of guys they get back for stuff and they ask to do stuff. I don't know. So that's just exciting. It's also like, they're showing, the clips, if you're not watching on the YouTube, of all those other great teams, and Sean's just narrating it, and so much excitement for this year's team. Just be like some of those. It's going to be hopefully a fun year, unless they lost to Murray State when we're recording this again, like I said at the top, but I pray they didn't. All right, Mr. East.
I like No Cap, and he's the main bird.
We're on to Sean East Main Birds of the Week. Kenny, what's your Sean East Main Bird of the Week? Just kidding, Kenny. I'll read your Sean East Main Bird of the Week. He's giving it to Albert Okwuegbunam, of course, the former Philadelphia Eagle. Unfortunate, not great news for our good old Albert O. He's on injured reserve after undergoing a core muscle repair. I didn't even know. Oh, I guess, yeah, core muscle repair. That's a normal thing. Projected 6 to 8 week recovery timeline from the date of his procedure. With the reported release of E.J. Jenkins, the Eagles will initially carry 2 tight ends, Dallas Goedert and Grant Calcaterra. So yeah, another just hit on the Tigers and the pros, but at least we got Alberto sticking on a roster, and of course with the birds, Sean East Main Birds and the Eagles.
Yeah, thanks for all the happy vibes, Kenny.
Yeah,
real downer notes that you're giving us here, but
Doesn't feel like the definition of
Unfortunate
main
for
bird.
Alberto. He hasn't. Alberto's just kind of had an unfortunate start to his NFL career. Kind of got lost in the shuffle between a bunch of coaching staffs in Denver, and now an injury on a team that he might have been able to make. It's a tough one.
Yeah, I feel like that Denver thing was so written in the cards for him with Drew Lock. Like it seemed so set up for a perfect like transitioning their pairing into the NFL, but was not meant to be. Hopefully he can bounce back from that well. Core muscle repair does not sound fun. Yeah, Kenny, chill with can we stop with the downer news? This is
bummers.
He'll be all hard about it. It'll be all, I've got to bring it's what's happened. I've got to report on it. Big J Kenny. Anyway, Payton, what's your main bird of the week?
My main bird of the week, I have two technically. The first is going to be Johnny Manziel. Johnny Manziel, of course. I don't know if you guys have heard of him, but he was a Texas A&M quarterback at one point in time. He was a big deal. I don't know if anybody remembers him though, but College Game Day remembers him. They're going to let him be the guest picker for Week 1 in College Station where the Aggies will take on Notre Dame. Johnny Manziel, if you're looking for a connection to a bird, he was notably suspended for a half against Rice.
The Owls. To clarify,
yes, the Owls.
Mascot.
Yeah.
This is kind of fun wrinkle too. You've got Manziel will be on the same stage as Saban, and I feel like the game everyone remembers, of course, Johnny Manziel going to Tuscaloosa, the crazy touchdown play where he bobbled it. How do you feel about Johnny Manziel, Payton?
I hope he's doing better. It was pretty clear he was not going down a good path in college and post-college, so hopefully he's doing well now. Certainly one of the more iconic names in college football history. So
yeah, I like not this, but for some reason I think I heard him on a podcast just talking about some stuff, and it led me down a rabbit hole. I just rewatched some of those old A&M highlights and being the first freshman to win the Heisman and do all this stuff. It was a pretty fun time when he was really good. And, you know, he's always an interesting conversation now with NIL and all this stuff, because obviously he was, you know, making money. That was a big thing. You know, because of how big he was. So, yeah, good to see he's going to join game day. I'm sure he'll end up picking the Aggies.
And of course, his last, I don't remember if he played the bowl game or not, but his last regular season college game, at least, was a loss to the Missouri Tigers. So
there you go. Good connection. We own Johnny Manziel. What's your other main bird?
My other main bird is going to be the Iowa State men's basketball team. If you're looking for a bird connection, their main rival is Iowa.
They also
the Hawkeyes, of course.
Isn't their like mascot technically a bird, even though they're the Cyclones? Isn't
yeah, I mean the Cyclone one logo has like a bird on it. So
yeah,
they are in this segment because they have a ring commemorating last season, which is fine. I'm fine with teams doing that. I don't know. I won't ring shame for certain things. But what I am gonna make fun of is the fact that they have a Among Us decal imprinted on each one of these rings. There's even a note about it that says Among Us, a popular game during the pandemic. The Cyclones used the game as a bonding experience on road trips throughout the season. Among Us even replied, so yeah, the Cyclones have an Among Us ring, which is easy bait to make fun of. So
I think that's pretty funny. I mean, it's a nice little.
It's funny. Also, they do have the bird logo on.
Yeah, see, that's why I was like, there's the bird. I count it. Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, it's kind of funny to see it in 2024. Like Among Us, I feel like everyone played that, like it said in the pandemic.
Right.
Just also time period. They got the ring because they won the Big 12. They didn't just make it commemorating the season.
Yeah, but I know, but like there's always a big thing about rings. Like, when is it appropriate to make them? You know, Mizzou made one after the Cotton Bowl. Kansas State made one after the Guaranteed Rate Bowl. So yeah, I think it's worthwhile. They made it after being Big 12 tournament champs too, not just straight up champs.
I mean, Big 12's hard to win. I'll give it to the Cyclones.
It is
Although
hard.
I guess they're kind of a Mizzou rival, so maybe we shouldn't hype them up that much. And they like Among Us.
Yeah. I don't know. Missouri beat the crap out of them a couple of years ago. So
this is true. That was a nice win. My main bird of the week, We're going to actual birds this week. This would have been a good headline too. From the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, shout out. We know many great people who work there, have worked there. This headline reads, Bald eagle thought to be hurt was really, quote, too fat to fly, Missouri officials say. I did not even read the article. I did not bother clicking on it. I just thought it was pretty funny. That eagle is my main bird. Just living its best life. It turns out, here's the lead. It turns out an injured bald eagle didn't need to be nursed back to health, Missouri officials say. It simply was suffering from success.
Huh. So it was just too fat, I guess. Interesting. How does a bird get too fat? All it's doing is flying. You'd think it'd burn a lot of calories that way.
Also, like, if it's getting too fat, it's probably eating a lot of food, which it has to catch the food by flying. So you'd think that would offset. I don't know. I didn't continue reading. But shout out the PD for that one. I just thought the headline was pretty funny. I had to share that one. Also, our bald eagles, like, it's kind of funny that we make them a big symbol of like America and stuff like that. They're not like that tough of birds, I don't think.
I don't know a ton about bald eagles other than that they fly very majestically.
It's true.
They do have kind of a wimpy caw, like they go or whatever. But I don't know. I think they're birds of prey. I mean, that alone is kind of fire.
It's kind of badass.
Mm-hmm.
Not this one though. This one is a bird of.
No, this one's too fat. But moving on.
Moving on. Best thing you learned, Payton.
Best thing I learned this week. Well, you can call it best. I'm gonna just categorize it as best. Missouri is set to announce multi-year partnerships with Columbia-based companies Shelter Insurance and Equipment Share that will include on-field logos this fall, Laird Veach told Ben Portnoy of the Sports Business Journal. Missouri was the second SEC team to announce an on-field sponsorship behind Tennessee. I believe both are at 30-yard lines. I did see a photo from one of the beat writers of what it'll look like. But yeah, Missouri has sponsorships now on the field. I'm sure some will be upset about it. I don't really care that much. They probably won't be in the way too much. As long as they don't get rid of the SEC logos at the 25, I don't really care.
Yeah, I was going to say, this was getting some people up in arms, so I'm glad you brought this up. Yeah, I don't think I really care all that much. I mean, I get it. Sometimes the sponsorships, like, you see it in the pros when they're on the jerseys. Sometimes they look kind of ugly depending on what the sponsorship is. But I don't know. I don't think this one will be that bad.
Yeah.
And Shelter Insurance is also like kind of local.
And you can, I found a photo. So if you're on the YouTube, Mizzou Athletics did announce it. So Shelter Insurance is actually putting it at the 25, like opposite the SEC logo. And then Equipment Share is the other 25. So
I don't think that looks bad. I don't think
it looks fine. It does not look that bad. Case IH has to get one for the red zone.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Just says it in big bold letters across the entire field.
Yeah,
just Case IH. We'd allow that. I don't know. Should we try and sponsor it? Which yard marker would we sponsor? Like the 32,
the 48,
the 48, the unwritten rule.
Right next to the tiger.
Yeah, I like it. The left corner of the end zone. It just like looks like some gunk is under there, and in just tiny letters, because that's all we can afford to pay for is just the unwritten rule. Subscribe.
Yeah,
it's just our Twitter. There you go. Yeah, I'm not really mad about this. Maybe people might have been expecting a bigger conversation, but I think it looks fine. Those are two. I'm pretty sure Equipment Share is also a Missouri based company. So
yeah, I know Shelter is. So
you want money for your NIL collective? This is what has to happen.
Exactly.
You're welcome. Yeah, nice. All right. Kenny's best thing he learned this week. We're talking some Cruton. That is because what Kenny learned this week is that Jackson Cantwell, a 5-star offensive lineman. I think even if you're not super into recruiting, but you're in Missouri and you're a Mizzou fan, you probably already know who Jackson Cantwell is. He's a top 5 player in the class of 2026, probably the best offensive lineman in the class. He is visiting Mizzou. He tweeted his game day visits for the fall. Obviously, recruits all take game day visits. It's a big thing to do for the top players. And he will be at Mizzou on September 21st against Vanderbilt. He also will be in Tuscaloosa for Alabama's game against Mizzou. So he will see Mizzou play twice this season. Mizzou, Georgia, Bama, He's going to go to LSU, also Nebraska, Georgia. All those schools kind of competing in for him. This would be a really, really big get. He's in state, plays for Nixa. His parents are both Olympians. Again, I feel like I'm saying a lot of things people probably already know, but it's good that Mizzou, he'll at least be seeing Mizzou play twice, including once at home this year.
Definitely. And I mean, he's a guy that Missouri is obviously heavily after. He's one of the highest rated Missouri at high school athletes, I believe, ever. So definitely one I'm sure Drinkwitz and co are putting a full court press on.
I'm also a big fan. This is a super side note of his Twitter profile picture, Payton. It's him in a spacesuit. It's very funny. That's fire. Is that the Clemson? Oh, is that the Clemson logo?
Sure,
I think he's had that for a while.
Out there, but
I don't know. But yeah, he's really good. He's also like won the state championship in discus like every year since he was in. Like,
he is quite the athlete. So
very good athlete. Shout out Nixa. So there you go. If you're at that game against Vandy and you see him, go give him a Mizzou welcome, I suppose. But yeah, he'll be one to watch for sure. My best thing I learned, maybe my worst thing I learned, is probably the better term for it. Payton, apparently, in basketball, Illinois is Mizzou's biggest rival. Did you know that?
Yeah, it looks like it if you ask Andy Katz.
Yeah. So Andy Katz did a top 10 rivalries in college basketball. I won't read you all of them. I'll spare you from that. He had at number 7, Illinois versus Missouri. And instead of having Kansas versus Missouri, which I would have taken over Illinois versus Missouri and not had that on the list at all, not only didn't he have it on at all, he had Princeton versus Penn over it, which is insane. I don't like, this is very strange. This is like, no, I don't think any Mizzou fan considers Illinois a bigger rival than Kansas in any sport, let alone basketball.
Yeah. Not a great list. It definitely strikes me as one he threw together really quickly. Duke UNC is number 1, and that's definitely the right call. Indiana Purdue also should probably be up there. Kentucky Louisville, you could argue as well. But the rest of these I don't love. There's so many others besides Kansas, Missouri that you could throw on here. I mean, there's like no Big East rivalries on here.
Yeah, so I'm trying to think like, they're like not many are coming. Like, what about like Georgetown, Providence?
Yeah,
or
I don't know. Not a great list.
It's a bad, horrible list. I mean, what are we doing? What are we doing here, Andy Katz? Like, yeah, I don't know.
It's a shame, Andy. You're better than this.
You're better than this. Mizzou will play Illinois and Kansas, both this season.
Yep.
Hopefully beat both. Probably not. All right, Payton's pulling up the Today Show logo, so we're gonna finish off the show. Hope everyone enjoyed the game recap. I hope we did a good job. Again, we're doing this part of the show before that, so we don't actually know. But
alrighty, Knowlton. Here's the joke of the day.
Hit me with it.
Why did the cow go to Hollywood?
He wanted to be in a movie.
There you go, Knowlton. You've gotten 2 in a row. There you go.
Fire. I've been on fire.
You're on it.
Right on.
So there you go. Easy one, but there you go.
Good joke. We will be back on Monday. Now we got the Thursday game out of the way, so now the schedule will actually make sense. You know, our show schedule was conducive to Mizzou on Saturday games, so we can kind of go back to that now. So we'll have a show for you guys Monday. I think it'll just be me and Payton on that one, and then we'll have another preview Thursday, and we're rolling. We're off. Mizzou is 1-0. And yeah, until Monday's show, we'll dive into week 2. The opponents only get more fun from here. The Buffalo Bulls up next for the Missouri Tigers, a huge upgrade. But
aggressively fun.
Yeah, way more fun. All right. Until then, enjoy. I hope you enjoyed the game, and we will see you on Monday.